Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. If you can hear me, say hi. If you can hear me, say hi. Oh, Noya Energy. You're welcome, Noya Energy. Thank you. Thank you. We'll start by 7 o'clock on that. Start by 7 o'clock on that. You're welcome. You're welcome, Noya Energy. So we have three people who have joined right now. It's 7 o'clock already. So we'll be starting shortly. Thank you all for joining. Say hi in the chat box. Say hi in the chat box. Just say hi in the chat box. The people who have joined, say hi in the chat box so I can see your name. So I can see your name. Say hi in the chat box. Thank you. Oh, see my beautiful sister is here. Hi, hi, hi. Aditaya Adebimpe Martins Ejeri. How's my friend? Hope you're taking care of him. Okay, so Abraham Ijegbe. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, my sister. Abraham Ijegbe, you're welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. God bless you all. Thank you for joining. We'll be starting shortly. We'll be starting shortly. Tito Africana, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, Tito Africana. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Okay, so just a little. Let's get started. Would the others will join us? The others will join us. Okay, we'll get started in like 2 minutes. Let's wait till 7:05. It's 7:02 p.m. Let's wait for just 3 minutes rather. Then we'll get started. I hope you're all cool with that. All right, that's fine. So we're getting started right away. So my name is Uluka Adibadijo. They call me Kitty Coach. I'm a digital marketing consultant, and I've worked with several organizations, helping them use social media ads get wonderful results for their businesses. And I've also worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs to help move their business from point A to point B, for some to point C, for some already who are already at point D, we'll move them to point E, point F, point J. Do you understand? Moving them from where they are currently to where they should be, depending on the size of their businesses, right? So, over the years, I realized a shortfall in the knowledge gap of our digital marketing. And I saw that a lot of people, especially business people, do not know the right way to go about running adverts on social media. So I've dedicated my time over the past few years to actually train, teach, and mentor people on how to do these things the right way. I've heard people say, I paid somebody 50,000 naira to do this for me. I didn't get any results. All the money just left. I gave somebody 100,000 naira. I've heard that story too many times, like too many times. Like if somebody calls me now to tell me about their adverts, one of the things, like out of every 10 people that calls, I'm very sure that about 7 or 8 of them would have that same story. Like, I gave somebody this particular amount to run ads for me, and eventually nothing came out of it. You understand? Or maybe something came out a little and then everything ceased, then everything just went down the drain. I've heard that same story like too many times. So, and because of this is why I've decided to do this webinar to show you some certain things that you need to understand, to show you the rudiments, the basics of running adverts and how it should be done. Just because you're in social media does not mean that, okay, because you saw an ad button on your phone, you understand, does not mean that you know how to run adverts. There are technicalities to it. Do you understand? I hope you know for digital marketing consultants in the US, Canada, in the UK, some of them earn as high as $100,000 a year. So how do you now think that because you just saw an ad button on your phone, you know how to run advert? Just put one picture together and then you're running adverts and you say I'm a digital marketer. No, that's not how it works. There are actually technicalities to this thing. By the time I open your mind to a lot of things, you understand, you will now see that what you know is simply like, how do I describe it? Okay, what you know about digital marketing or running adverts is simply like, okay, you want to know how to drive a car, and then somebody now shows you where to put the key. Do you get what I'm saying? Someone just shows you, you want to start it, you want to drive a car. This is the car key. Put the key here. Do you understand? And then turn it to start the key to start it. Then let me ask you a question. The fact that you can start a car doesn't mean you can drive a car. You can start a car. Even if you give your baby your car keys and say, okay, put it here, they can put it here, start it. They will start it. But does it mean they can drive a car? Of course not. That's exactly what it is. Because driving, there are too many technicalities to driving a car. You need to know how to use side mirrors. You need to know how to reverse. You need to know what the brake is. You need to know where the clutch is. You need to know all of those things. You need to know what gear one gets, what drive is. All too many technicalities to knowing how to drive a car. So knowing how to start the car does not automatically guarantee that you can drive a car. And that's exactly what the problem is with so many people. So they say, ah, why? I saw the add button on my phone. So I believe I just click on the add button and it asked me to put a picture or a video and I put it and I said and I put money there. I added money and then I started running the adverts. And I'm like, okay, I understand that for the adverts you run. But that's why you're not getting because there are a lot of things you still need to know. So I'm going to be showing you a lot of those things. So today, for today's class, the topic for today is understanding Facebook ad terminologies. I'm going to be delving into the terminologies of Facebook advert, and I'm going to be showing you everything you need to understand from one step to another, and all of the things that you never saw on on your ad on your ad interface. I'm going to show you all of those things, and I'm going to show you what they stand for, what they mean, and how to use them. So that's what we're going to be starting with today. So let's go on from there. So I told you I've worked with I've consulted for a lot of organizations, but these are some of them: P1 Homes, Topaz Gardens, Soul Properties, Gate and Properties, Imperium Real Estate, Excel Digitals, and some other ones. You understand? And of course, I can't count the number of entrepreneurs I've worked with in terms of training, consulting, and of course, helping them out with their ads. Those ones are too many. I can't count them. Right? So the first thing we're going to be looking at today, when you're running adverts, I'm sure everybody sees impressions, reaches on their adverts. But what is the difference? Do you know the difference? Now I'm going to show you what the difference really is. Now, if you are following me, say I. Say I on the chat box, you are following this. So for impressions is simply the number of times your ad is seen. Now get this very well. Impressions is simply the number of times that your advert is seen. While on the other hand, reaches is simply the number of people who see your adverts. Did you get that? Impression is what? The number of times your advert is seen. While reaches is what? The number of people, the number of actual human beings that see your adverts. Let me explain this to you. For instance, if you put out an advert on social media, let's say Facebook, and I, as a person, Oluka Adebayo, see your adverts once. What it means is the reach there is one because I'm just one person. But another thing is I can see the same advert twice. I hope you know that. I can see the same advert twice. Now, if I see the same advert twice, does my reach increase? The answer is no, because it's still one person. Do you understand? But what now happens is this: my impression has now increased from 1 to 2. Did you get that now? If I see your advert online just once, the reach is one, the impression is one, because the number of people that have seen the advert is just one person, while the number of times it's been seen is just one person. But one person has only seen the adverts. Now, if I now see that same advert a second time, the reach will not go up. The reach will remain one because it's just me that have seen the adverts, but the impression will now become two. Why? Because I've seen the advert twice. So more often than not, you'd always see that your impressions are usually more than your reaches. The figures on your impression, most of the time, will usually be more than the figures on your reaches. I hope you understand that now. So let's move on. Next slide. We have CPA, CPC, and CPM. They all look alike. You must have seen all of these two before. So what's the difference? So CPA is cost per acquisition, CPC is cost per click, and CPM is cost per thousand impression. Now let me explain everything. These three parameters are basically how Facebook or any other social media platform charges you. How social media ads, how they charge you. You understand? You put 1,000 naira on your account, for instance, or $10 on your account. This is how the social media ads manager charges you for your adverts. So what's the difference? Cost per acquisition simply means the amount spent to acquire a customer. For instance, if I'm optimizing for leads, if I'm running an advert and the advert is to generate leads, what that means is that my cost per acquisition will be something like CPL. That means cost per lead. So my cost per acquisition will read how much it takes me, how much I spend, you understand, to acquire one lead. For instance, if I spend, if after spending $5, I get a lead, that means somebody subscribes or signs up for my advert or shows interest. What that means or what that translates to is that my cost per acquisition or cost per lead is $5 per lead. Oh, Olumai Olayinka, thank you very much for joining. I see you. So cost per acquisition simply means the amount I spend to acquire a customer, whether I'm optimizing for leads or I'm optimizing for sales. So if I'm optimizing for leads, what that translates to is that if after spending $5, somebody signs up, it means that $5 has become my cost per acquisition or my cost per lead. I hope you got that now. So the amount I spend to acquire a lead or to acquire a sign up or a subscriber is called what? Cost per lead or cost per acquisition. It could be CPS too, which is called cost per sale. Some call it CPP, cost per purchase. That's if I'm doing e-commerce. You understand? I have a system where people can buy online directly. You understand? I'm selling a product to buy online directly. So with me, let's say I now spend $5 to acquire a customer who buys, they bring out their card or they do a transfer via a payment gateway online. You understand? So if I spend $5 to get a sale, it means my cost per sale is $5 or my cost per acquisition is $5. God's power Atapao. Thank you for joining. I see you. It means what my cost per acquisition or my cost per sale is what? That means for every $5 I spend, I get a sale. Somebody buys after I spend $5. That's what CPA means. Now for CPC, CPC simply means cost per click. This is what a lot of people know about cost per click. Cost per click simply means that I don't get charged until somebody clicks on my advert. So if somebody just sees my advert, the ad platform will not charge me. But when somebody clicks on my advert, I get charged. For instance, On let's say Facebook, for instance, you can get charged, let's say, $1 for a click, or 50 cents for a click, or if it's Nigeria, I can get charged, let's say, 50 naira for a click. So when you see that, that's what cost per click means. It means for every click on your advert, you get charged a certain amount. I hope you got that. Then the next one is CPM. It means cost per thousand impression. That's what it means. CPM means cost per thousand impression. So when you are charged based on these models, you are charged based on views on your advert, based on impressions on your advert, based on the number of times your advert is seen. So how does this happen? It means that they are charged for every 1,000 people who view your advert. So there's a certain amount to get charged after 1,000 people view your advert, 1,000 people see your advert online. That translates to cost per thousand impression. Some call it cost per mil. Mil is MILLE, but for explanations, it's called cost per thousand impression. I hope you got that. We are going to take questions after this session, so you can prepare your questions. I'll answer them. So let's move on to the next thing. Next thing is daily budgets and lifetime budget. When you're running adverts, you must have a budget, be it daily budget or lifetime budget. So what's the difference between daily budget and lifetime budget, and which one should you use? Now you can use anyone actually. You're not there's no one that's better than the other. I use daily budget most of the time actually. But it's not like it's better than the other. But I'll tell you the reason why I use daily budgets. You understand? So this is the difference. If you are running with a daily budget, let's say you want to run advert, you're running with, let's say, $10 per day, or let's say 10,000 naira per day, or let's say 5,000 naira per day in Nigeria. Do you get? So it means that on a daily basis, Facebook will charge you $10 every day to run adverts. So today is a Saturday, for instance. If you run advert today, they'll charge you $10 or 10,000 naira. Tomorrow again, if your advert runs throughout that day, you get charged $10 again, or $10 or 10,000 naira. Do you understand? So every day your advert is running, you get charged that particular amount you have set as your daily budget. I hope you got that, everyone. Good. Now for lifetime budgets. If you are working with lifetime budget, what happens is this: Facebook or the social media platform you are using mandates you to create a lifetime for your advert. That lifetime may be, let's say, 5 days, maybe 10 days, it may be 1 week, it may be 1 month. Do you understand? Then do not set a budget to run throughout the span or throughout the lifetime of that advert. For instance, if I decide to set my advert to run for, let's say, 10 days, you understand, I can decide to put $100 to run for 10 days, or 100,000 naira. So what happens is this: throughout, from the first day to the 10th day, Facebook will ensure that the money I've set as my lifetime budget is exhausted within that length of time. That's called lifetime budget. Now, this is the difference. For daily budgets, your daily spend is about the same. Of course, there'll be days where, for instance, if you're running with $10 a day, there'll be days where you spend slightly less than $10, and there'll be days where you spend slightly more than $10. But on the average, what you spend is $10 every day. But for lifetime budget, the daily spend, you understand, the daily spend is not regular. Do you get what I'm saying now? So today you can spend $8. If you are running on, let's say, $100 for 10 days. On a normal day, should be, let's say, $10 every day, but it won't be like that for lifetime. Tomorrow you can spend $12. The next day you can spend even $15 at times. And the other day you can spend $7. It will be largely dependent on the traffic. I hope you got that. So that's what lifetime budget is. So for me personally, I do not like the regular spend. So I go for daily budget. And the reason I do that is because it helps me to calculate, or it gives me an insight. It gives me an insight on how much I spend on a daily basis that gives me a certain result. So from that angle, I can decide to now increase my daily spend. That's for me personally. It's just my own bias. That, like I told you earlier, you can use anyone basically. Whether if it's daily budget that's comfortable for you, please go ahead. And if it's lifetime budget, please go ahead as well. I'm not trying to establish a difference. Yeah, I hope you are good on that. So let's move on to the next one. Frequency. Frequency. So how do we explain, like, how do we explain frequency here? A lot of people do not actually know there is something called frequency while running adverts. So let me explain exactly what frequency is. Before we go here, I showed you CP, I showed you reaches exactly, and I showed you impressions as well. So those two parameters are the things that establish your frequency. Now let me explain it. I told you that reaches are the number of actual human beings that see your advert online. So if I see your advert once, it's still one reach. If I see the same advert twice, it is still one reach because I'm one person. If I see the same advert 5 times, it's still one reach because I'm still one person, right? But if I see it 5 times, it is 5 impressions, but the reach is still one. I hope you got that. So now, like I explained earlier as well, you realize that the impressions are more often than not always more than the reaches. For instance, if you run an advert for 10 days, you may find out that your impression, your why you may find out that why your reach is, let's say, 10,000, that's 10,000 human beings. Your impression may actually be 13,000. Now let me now explain how frequency comes into play there. Frequency is calculated by doing a simple mathematics. Impressions divided by reaches. So if I have 13,000 impressions and I have 10,000 reach, so if I divide my impression by my reach, I'm going to get 1.3. So what that translates to is that there are some people among my reach, there are some people that have seen my adverts, that have seen my advert more than one time, perhaps 3 times. You understand? It simply means that 30% of the people who have seen my advert have seen it about 3 times, right? That's exactly what frequency gives you. So it helps you to know when your ad may not be converting any longer. It helps you to know when people on your advert, when virtually everyone on your advert have seen your advert more than once. You can tell from your frequency. How is that? The frequency normally starts from 1.0 when you're running adverts. So it's very good to keep your eye on that parameter, on that feature. The frequency starts from 1.0. But you start seeing it that over time, it goes from 1.0 to 1.1, from 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.3 to 1.4 to 1.5. When it gets to 1.5, it tells you that about 50% of the people in your advert have seen your adverts more than once, perhaps twice. Are you following that? Then by the time it keeps going higher, there's a time will come when it gets to 1.8, 1.9, 2.0. When it gets to 2.0, it means that everyone, every one of your audience have seen your advert at least twice. So at that point, most of the time, you realize that your adverts the conversion rate of your advert has gone down. Perhaps let's say you are doing lead generation and you were getting, let's say, 10 leads every day. 10 people were subscribing or reaching out to you via your advert. By the time your impressions get to, let's say, 2.0, you realize that most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, the number of people that would be subscribing on your adverts would have gone down. That's to tell you that virtually every one of the people you are targeting has seen your advert at least twice. So if people have seen your advert at least twice, you understand, most of the time they are not interested. So that should tell you that you need to change your audience. I hope you're understanding this, what I'm explaining to you. So these are the little things that a lot of people do not know. So they keep running adverts. Some people can even run adverts at times so that their frequency would have gone to 3.0, 4.0, and they're still running the adverts. It tells you already that people on your advert have seen your advert up to 3, 4 times. They are not interested. It is now time to change your audience. So when you are studying your frequency against the results you are getting, you can quickly tell when your results have started going down, do you get, and when you should change your audience. So you can start getting you can start getting new results, you can start getting more results or better results. So these are the little things that a lot of people do not understand, and they keep wasting money while running their adverts. Their adverts. Frequency for you. If you got that, type I in the chat box. If you understand what I just explained, type I, chat I in the chat box. Okay, CTR. CTR. So what is CTR? CTR is called click-through rates. Click-through rates. Now, the number of people that see your adverts online, or let me explain it, not everyone that sees your adverts online will engage your advert, will click on your adverts. Some of them will just look at the advert and pass. Now, what is click-through rate? Click-through rate is the number of people that actually click on your adverts against the number of people who see your adverts online. For instance, if out of 10,000 people who see your advert online, only 1,000 people click on your advert, your click-through rate is about 1,000. That means 1,000 of 10,000 people clicked on your advert. That's simply what click-through rate is. So sometimes I want to look at this to see how many people are seeing your advert and how many people are clicking on your adverts. You can easily check. A lot of times, this also helps you to determine whether your advert is doing well. For instance, if if 10,000 people see your advert online and only 10 people click on it, it's a sign the advert is not doing well. Something is wrong with your adverts. Do you understand? Because as against the number of people who see your adverts, people who have clicked on it are too small. It means that you're probably targeting the wrong audience, or the ad you have put out there is not compelling enough for people to want to look at what you are advertising. So you have to go and look at your advert and tweak it or correct something about it. So click through will help you understand. Okay, people are seeing your advert, but they are not engaging with your advert. So you can check number of your on the click of you can check number of the clicks on your adverts to be able to determine your click through rate. You understand? 10,000 people saw your advert online and only 10 people clicked on the advert. That is too small as against people who have seen the advert. It's a sign that something is wrong with that advert. You go and change it.